All right, here we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So, hello, hello. I am live in the Leader Tribe and on my personal page tonight. So, I want to say hello and welcome to everybody, and especially to my Leader Tribe. Hey, everyone, how are you doing? I want to welcome you to our very first full conversation on Leader Tribe Live. Woo! This is our very first full conversation. So the first time that I did Leader Tribe Live, I did it solo because I just wanted to, kind of set the standard, set the tone. But tonight you get to actually have the full live experience. And tonight's conversation is going to be one that really, really hits home for so many of us because we're talking about the hidden helper. The one who's gifted, who's capable, who's called and anointed, but still finds comfort behind the scenes. So don't worry, tonight this conversation is for you, and I see you because I was you. And so our topic tonight is humility isn't hiding. And this one is going to definitely challenge the way that you see humility, the way that you see service, the way that you see leadership, and even yourself to a certain degree. So I have got my mug right here. This is my tea for tonight. And definitely, normally I do lemongrass tea, but I wanted to switch it up tonight because I wanted some different health benefits. So I'm doing red raspberry leaf tea tonight. But let me know in the comments if you're tuning in, what is in your cup tonight? What are you drinking? Okay, let me know. And while you're doing that, let me just say we definitely have a very powerful guest joining us tonight, a fellow leader, Jairrod A. Burch. But before we bring him on, I'm going to do a very quick authority insight for tonight's conversation. We got to have our quick fireside chat really quick before we dive in so that I can set the tone. Okay. So, as you guys are letting me know what you're drinking tonight, feel free to go ahead and say hello, say what's up, how are you doing? Let me know what's going on with everybody. All right. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into our insight for tonight because I want to make sure we have as much time as possible to hear from our special guest. But definitely want to talk to you guys about this one. So for many of us, right, especially those of us with the heart of a servant, right, we have a heart to serve others. We have a heart to love on people and to serve people. Humility can very often be misunderstood, misconstrued, misused, right? That word humility. And, it's because we're taught to pretty much stay low, right? Stay low, stay quiet, and let your work speak for itself, right? I'm sure we've all heard that one. Let your work speak for itself. But sometimes that same mindset becomes the exact reason why we end up never speaking at all. So definitely, I think there's a difference between humility and hiding. And humility basically says, I serve because I'm confident in who I am, right? But hiding says, I serve because I'm scared to be seen. And so we definitely got to learn the difference. And we're going to be talking about that in a lot more detail tonight. But humility basically honors the calling and the cost, right? So it's not about silence, it's really about stewardship. And personally, I've learned that real humility is not shrinking to make other people comfortable or, concealing the things that make you great. But it's really about letting that show. Like you have to be able to show up not just for others, but also for yourself. And the truth is, honestly, you can't lead what you keep hiding from, plain and simple. So, tonight, as you listen into the conversation, as you get comfortable, I want you to start asking yourself, where have I been mistaking humility for hiding? And what would it really look like for me to show up fully as the leader that I'm actually called to be, right? So, that's what we're going to be unpacking tonight with our special guest. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into my introduction. If you're just coming on, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Leader Tribe Live. Go ahead and drop your city in the chat for me. You can say, hey, say, what's up, Oksana? Because I haven't talked to you guys in a while. And just let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay. So for tonight, humility isn't hiding. So much we're going to say about this. But tonight, I'm introducing our very first guest in Leader Tribe Live. Okay. So you all know that I don't just endorse any old body, right? Anybody that I bring onto my platform, it's because I really do trust them and I know that they're going to deliver immense value. And tonight's guest is no exception to that rule. So when I decided to cultivate this platform for leaders, he was literally the first person that came to mind as the perfect person for this topic. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So I am so honored to be joined by him tonight. I'm going to go ahead and add him on the stage real quick. But I want you all to meet a powerhouse leader. His name is Jairrod A. Burch. Jairrod is a speaker, he is a visionary, and he's a leader who's helped so many people to honor their voice and to walk in their purpose. And I know that personally because I'm one of those people. And what I really respect about Jairrod the most is that he just is who he is, right? There's no change. Like who he is behind the scenes, that's who you see in front of the crowd too, right? He's just a genuine person. And he's also the type of person who leads with that rare but masterful balance of confidence and true humility, which we'll talk about tonight. He has a heart to serve others, but he also knows the power of being and embodying who he truly is. So, Jairrod, I would like to officially welcome you to the Leader Tribe Live as my very first guest. Can you just take a second and say hello to everybody and introduce yourself?
First of all, I want to say thank you, Oksana, because the person who you are, your heart was to have a platform so that you could help people that were struggling with their voice. They have a voice, but you wanted to amplify that. So I want to say thank you. My name is Jairrod A. Burch. I'm actually right now in cold Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm a TEDx speaker. I am an advisor, value life coach specialist. I am an author. But what I mostly am is I am an influencer. And I'm able to use my story, my influence, my gifts to push or propel or pull others into their greatness.
I love that. Okay, so this is, you see what I mean already, guys? This is Jairrod. And so before we get into the conversation tonight, Jairrod, let me know, what are you sipping on tonight? What's in your cup?
First of all, it was chocolate milk at first. It was. But right now, honestly, it's blue Powerade.
Okay.
I think it's dope. I think it's dope. It just is.
Okay, Powerade. I wasn't expecting that. Powerade. Okay. That's awesome. So one thing I wanted to ask you before we get started, right? So I'm gonna do a little challenge. So right now I want you to describe your leadership style, if you can, in just one word. What would it be? Something that's unique to you.
In one word,
hmm
I would have to say relentless.
Ooh, I
I
love
would have to
that.
say relentless because no matter how many times I have been knocked down in my life, or how many times I have fallen or
Mhm.
tripped or anything of that nature, I have been able to recognize that God placed a heart in me that always beats to come back to Him to say, I have to get to where I'm supposed to be.
Mm,
And that's the relentlessness of it, because it's something that God placed in me. Me alone, um, a lot of times you'll hear me say, man, I don't even like people. Like, y'all get on my nerves as it is. But it's that heart that God placed in me, because your gifts and your personality are not going to be the same. In fact, your gifts that God has given you is going to be opposite of your personality. So I would say relentless, because the heart that God has placed in me is constantly saying, you know, you're better than this. You know, you're not supposed to be in that cave.
hmm.
Get back up. We have to finish. There's a commitment here.
Wow.
Relentless.
Relentless. I love that. So the challenge with that, right? So the word relentless, hold on to that, because I want to see if this word will organically come back up in the conversation tonight, and if we can circle back around to it as we get further into the conversation. It's kind of just a fun way to tie everything in and see how things come full circle. So let's go ahead and talk about you a little bit more, Jerry, because I really want people to have an opportunity to learn more about the leader, right? To learn more about you and learn more about your story. So I'm going to start by going back a little bit. Um, how did your leadership journey begin? What was that origin story like for you when it comes to leadership? And when did you realize that you were a leader with a gift for helping other people to grow?
I would have to say, if I can just be completely honest, is that um, leadership doesn't feel like leadership while you're
Hmm.
being developed.
Ooh.
Because when at first, it feels like you're being picked on because
Mm.
you're different, because you don't fit in. Remember, I just said it's all there's an opposite, because that's what God means when my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts, because when I am the youngest boy of all boys,
Mhm.
which I just celebrated a birthday, December 6th. I'm
Woo.
46 years old. And
Mhm.
I appreciate that, because men of my color, um, a lot don't even make it to half that. So I thank God for that. But when all of my, including mother and father, are in the ministry, so everybody got called to the ministry before me. So I'm just like, dang man, like what am I? I mean, like, am I going to be XYZ? Am I going to
Mm.
be called? Am I going to be, again, you are something even if you don't understand while you're in it.
Woo.
Because while I was developing,
Right.
even in life's debris, I was still being preserved.
Hmm. I know that's
And
right.
God had leadership over my life. Um, and then I went to my mom. I went to my mom and I said, Mom, all of my brothers are, called to the ministry. Like, does that mean is he going to call me? And she knew, but she also knew it was more important, that I would still have some form of patience in my development than to hurry up and give me an answer.
Mm.
Because that's why the Bible says, let patience have her perfect work, her perfect time. Um, so as I'm
Wow.
being developed, I didn't know it was leadership. I just thought, um, I can sing. I'm finding out that I can teach, I can preach, and this is all leadership. They're
Mhm.
gifts, but the real leadership started to happen when I started going through the worst times in my life, to be honest.
Mhm. Okay, well, don't go too far yet. We're
Because
gonna talk about that soon. Don't go too far.
so yeah, let me park right there.
Yeah, you saying a lot already. I love it. So let me ask you this before we get into the turning point, right? I don't want to get there just yet. But have you ever felt more comfortable behind the scenes than actually being in the spotlight? And what was that like for you? Take us through that experience.
To be honest, I don't think that I was the way that I came up. I was
Mhm.
I was almost pushed to the front. So I was
Mm,
never in the background. It didn't mean
gotcha.
I understood everything, but my gift for singing at the time and stage propelled me.
Mm,
And then because I had a gift to speak, it complemented that. So I didn't have time to be in the background, but it doesn't mean that there weren't times where my gift was on display and my heart took a back seat.
mm. Wait. Hold on. Break that down a little bit. Break that down for us a
Because
little bit.
once God started to show that there is a There is an anointing on your life
Mm-hmm.
to sing, to speak. When
Right.
I was doing those things in my gifts, which is my gifting, it doesn't mean that sometimes, I was gifted and I was ministering, but I was ministering sometimes without a full understanding, or I was ministering out of pain. I was on
Mm.
autopilot. I knew I had to get such and such done. I would put myself and my will in the back seat, and my gift and my calling would be to the forefront to help others. But there were plenty of times where I would speak, or I would uh, be doing a podcast, or be doing radio, or be doing something to where I knew it was my purpose, but inside I was like, I was, I was hurt. I
Mm-hmm.
was distraught. I was confused.
Wow.
So um, there were many times where I was just, it wasn't always where I felt like my gift, but sometimes I felt like, God, I am gifted, but I would also like for you to gift me with the same thing that you have me bless others with, because I'm in need
Wow.
myself.
Jeez. That is so good. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that, like being in that space, like, I'm able to do all these things for other people, but like, what about me? So I definitely think that's a relatable point. But let me ask you this though. So at what point did you realize personally, like in your journey, that it was time for you to stop taking a backseat in those ways and step forward and lead?
Um, Honestly, it was when I learned how to say no and mean it.
Come on now.
I was I was in Indianapolis, and I was well into my ministry. I was traveling and all that stuff, but I still wasn't satisfied. I wasn't fulfilled.
Yeah.
And there was a pull that was saying, I have more for you. And I remember a gentleman asked me, because they would always use me, call on me for my talent, my gift. And one of
Mhm.
them was praise and worship. I was anointed to do praise and worship. And they were like, man, we having this big service, man. It was like they would sick me on, like, oh, we got JB. We got JB. We going because my gift, your gift will
Right.
make room for you, but that doesn't mean you will like that room.
Woo. Okay,
So
see.
I remember the conversation. And at this point in time, I had already been feeling something was missing. I'm like, there's got to be
Mhm.
more, God. And he had asked me, actually, he wasn't really asking me, but he was telling me what they were going to have me do. And I said, you know what? I can train the rest of the team to do this. I said, but I'm going to sit this one out. And the
Mhm.
way he looked at me was like, what? I mean, because you're the leader. So what do you mean you're going to sit? I said, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm cool. I promise you, you will never walk into your yes until you first learn how to say no. But you got to say no, and you got to mean it,
With your whole
because
chest.
you got to say it with your chest, because if you don't, the enemy is also listening to your body language.
Mm.
Yeah, I heard you say no, but it was more of like, if you offer me something else, I'll go. And I meant it. I was like,
Right.
nah, because if I keep allowing you to keep me in this box, I won't be able to step into the other gifts that I know God has for me. But
Mhm.
if I don't tell you, and I wasn't saying it to be facetious, to be smart, or but I knew if I didn't say no and stand on business, I was going to keep being used for my gift while I
Right.
was functioning at a low capacity. You couldn't
Oof.
tell because on the other side of my gift, I was running on E. I was
Right.
tired of folks. I was tired of and God puts a timer on the gifts inside of you. And when
Mm.
it's come time and you're around the right people and the right places, it's going to ignite and it's going to pull you from places where you felt like you were supposed to be comfortable. You see that over there? That's where I need you to be. That's when
Right.
God started teaching me about the power of influence. But I first had to learn to say no because that no shifted me.
My God. Let me just take a second to take that in. That was so good. But oh my goodness, being able to say no with your whole chest and just stand in it. Oh my goodness.
And mean it.
So, and mean it. Right. So before we move on, let me just take a second to shout out some of my people because I see you guys in the comments here. Just want to say a quick hello. Hey, Stenza. That's my girl. Stenza tuning in from Point Siena. Hey, Jewel.
What's
Let me
good,
see
y'all?
who else is
What
on
up?
here. Hey, babe. Shout out to hubby. Love you. Okay. Hey, Mother Sherman. Love you too.
The mister. What up?
That's right. Mother Sherman said, know what your no means in order to accept your yes. Listen, that's a whole nugget. Make sure you guys write that one down for sure. So if you are just tuning in, welcome again. If you have a question for our guest as we're going through the rest of this conversation tonight, feel free to drop it in the comments so that we can get to it before we close out later tonight. I want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to get your questions heard and answered while we have him here. And also, if you're, watching right now, go ahead and hit those hearts for me real quick. Go ahead and show some love to the Leader Tribe Live. Let us know that you are tuning in. Feel free to say hey to me in the comments and I'll shout you out as soon as I can. But let's keep this conversation going because this is getting really, really good. Okay. Hi, Mother Sherman. All right. So let's keep it moving. So let's talk about the turning point. Okay. Let's talk
Hmm.
about the moment that it started shifting. So you already kind of started talking about it with the saying no, but let's dig a little bit deeper, right? Into how you really like evolved into that other level of leadership. So when you're going through that evolution from the hidden helper to the visible leader, right? Or the visible expert, what was it for you that kept you grounded during that time? Because evolution is not comfortable, right? So what was it that kind of gave you that grounding, that steadiness?
Um, what gave me the steadiness? Because to be honest, you're not going to get to the next phase that God has for you until He has to unplug you first to reset
Mm,
you later. So that's what the discomfort is. He has to
right.
unplug you because when he unplugs you, everything has to shut down. Because I need to reprogram you because you were
Right.
going in a direction you thought, but I'm unplugging you not to disconnect you, to punish you, but I'm unplugging you because you were connected to other sources that were feeding you what I didn't have for your diet.
Woo.
So I need to unplug you to reset you. When I reset you, I'm going to plug you back in, but you're going to
Mm,
be repositioned, realigned.
my God.
It wasn't about me being in pulpits. It was about God showing me that I was a mobile platform.
Mm,
And it was about God showing me it wasn't about a message, or a sermon. It was about, Jairrod, I've anointed you to be an influencer.
yes.
And it's not just in the church house, but in the marketplace. There
Come
is a
on.
place that I need your voice in the
Mhm.
marketplace. I need you to transition your mind because what kept you
Oof.
here will not sustain you over here. From ministry in the church to ministry in the marketplace.
My goodness. I hope you guys are taking notes. I really do. I really hope you guys are really taking this in. Okay, some of them are commenting to you, Jared. I don't know if you could see it, but I'm putting it up for you. Oh, hey, Sean. Thanks for tuning in. You guys are so awesome. But yeah, so I mean, that's you just said so much. This is the hard part about hosting conversations like this, right? Because like I'm taking it in, but also facilitating. But this is so good. Okay, so we talked about the unplugging and plugging back in, but how did your faith and your purpose specifically, right? How did that keep you aligned as you became more visible? Okay, because you started off kind of like hidden helper mode, helping leadership, serving, but as you became more visible in the marketplace, like you said, like how did your faith and purpose really keep you aligned as you're starting to get more attention and more eyes on you?
Number one, God, when He repositioned me, reset me, realigned
Mhm.
me, showed me that my message that I have for the world through my influence was showing people how important that the power of knowing that their value and their purpose is. Value and purpose. These are the two most asked questions from anybody around the world, any background, ethnicity,
Yeah.
whatever. These are the two most asked questions. Who am I? That's value.
Hmm.
The next one, where am I going? That's purpose. And God allowed me to be able to be, first of all, He doesn't send you to a place or empower you to do something that you didn't have to experience yourself.
That
Because
part.
when you experience it and you go through different things, it has more weight to it when I'm telling you to hold on. And I had to hold on when I didn't have
Exactly.
a knot, but I had to find a way to put two things together. So it
Come
carries
on.
more weight. So when I say something, there's weight that comes with it because that weight is a price that I had to pay. So
Mm.
you're gonna mess with me here. There is, he was teaching me. So when I need you to speak in a corporate setting, when I need
Right.
you to speak, when I was speaking for these NFL players and their coaches for their D1 athletes, he was teaching me, I want you to let them know that they have value. And
Yes.
their value is not about what they can do to produce a paycheck. Your value
Mm.
is how I made you out the gate.
Oh my
I
God.
know the thoughts that I think towards you, thoughts of
Whew.
good and not of evil to bring you to an expected end. And you have a
Expected
purpose.
end.
Your purpose is always going to be up under attack because most of us see our purpose through debris. It's
Mm.
always coming through a whirlwind. It's not necessarily the wind you got to worry about. It's what the wind is carrying in that
Come on.
debris. And a lot of times we get caught by it. And because we get damaged on our way to deliverance, we
Hmm.
feel like we are damaged because we suffered a hit. You're not
Wow.
damaged. You're going through a process. When you had that divorce, you were going through a process. When you had
Mm.
that breakup, that heartbreak, when you lost that job, you were going through a process. When
Jeez.
you fell, the fall is not the failure. Let me
Hmm.
say that again. You
Wow.
falling is not the failure. You not trying to get back up. That's the failure.
My goodness. Ooh, I'm about to get messed up. That's so good. Ooh, Jesus.
Let me say something real quick because we talked about being
Hmm.
relentless. The reason
Okay.
why I stay relentless is because when you learn how to say no, trust me,
Hmm.
when you say no and you mean it the first time, the enemy's going, oh, that's different. Oh, they meant it,
Right.
but I'm coming back later. because in my future, as I was going on and pursuing TEDx and getting called and getting platforms and things, I had to learn how to say no early, because
Yes.
the next time you learn how to say no, it will be on a larger stage.
Jeez.
And when I was invited to do a specific TEDx, I was in an environment that was not conducive with my value system.
Right.
And once I found out I was in a place where it was snooty, it was arrogant, it was prideful, it was everything
Mhm.
I wasn't with. And it was a
Right.
major platform. TEDx is the Super Bowl of a lot of innovators, speakers,
Yeah.
but I had it enough in me to look at where I was, what was going on. And if I said no before and I could stand on business, I had to say no right then and there. And I had to walk
Right.
away from a major platform, and I had to be okay with it.
Mm. That is so important. You have to have that standard for yourself. Have to, and stick to it. Okay. So before I address some of these comments real quick, after going through all of that, right? And knowing what you know now, how would you define humility? What does humility mean to you now at this stage?
Humility, honestly, is not you shrinking for other people's benefit.
Mm,
Humility, true humility, is a spirit, just like pride is a spirit, both good and
wow.
bad. Humility is not hiding your gifts so someone else will not be offended by you overshining them. Humility is knowing that your assignment and your gifts come from God to someone who does not deserve it, but he still gave me
Mm,
the assignment.
jeez. Woo! Not shrinking yourself for other people's benefit. My goodness.
If you can imagine, they have these couches now. I remember I ordered a couch, I ordered a bed, but when you see it on the package and you're
Mhm.
ordering it, it's all because I love TikTok Shop and Amazon. Don't play with me. So, but when you see it,
Uh-huh.
you're like, man, that couch is plush. It's in its finished form. But what they don't
Mhm.
let you know is that when you order that couch, they put it in a process to where they wrap it in plastic, and then
Mhm.
they put something that it takes and sucks all of the air out of it, so that the couch, which is this size, can fit in something like this to get to you.
Yep.
Some people are happy as long as they know you are confined to a space where they know you're bigger than. They
Woo!
don't mind you being in that. And what they'll do is they'll cut a little piece so you can breathe a little bit, because they benefit from you. They'll cut a
Exactly.
piece. They won't open the whole thing. They'll give you an engagement, but don't do too much.
Right.
I'll let you come here and come to this thing with me, but I'll keep you in the background. Don't allow yourself or other people to make you feel like what you were packaged in to
Mm.
travel is the thing where you were supposed to set up residence.
Woo! That's not your final
Touch somebody
destination.
real quick and say, cut me open.
Hey. Cut me
Because when
open.
you cut that package open, and then that thing, that bed, and that couch, that sofa, it unfolds. The
Yeah.
first thing you're asking yourself, how did all of
How did
that
that
fit into,
fit in here?
how did she fit How
Mhm.
did we not know she was anointed for business?
My
How
God.
did we not know that she was anointed to be an entrepreneur? How did we not know
Jeez.
that she was a speaker? Or how did we not know he was a barber, a businessman, or a doctor? How did we not? Because you
Woo.
were comfortable when you were ordering me,
Mm,
because I came in a package where there was little air for me to breathe,
my goodness.
and you were in control. But God will put you around folks who come to cut you open.
Jeez.
And that's what I'm anointed to do. I'm anointed to not just what I do is I help to bring the scales off of people's eyes so that they can find out that there is clarity even in chaos.
Oh my goodness. We have a few comments coming in that I want to address. You guys are loving this. I'm loving it too. I'm right here with you. Sean said, "Come on now." Stanza said, "Cut me open, rip me out the plastic." When the Sherman said, "Suppression, cut me open." Sean said, "Cut me open." Yeah, guys, this is so good. Dana said, "Amen." Listen, hope y'all are ready because we're not even done. We got more. There's more coming. So if you are just coming in, feel free to go ahead and put any questions that you have for Jairrod tonight in the comments so we can get a chance to get to you before we get out of here. But let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit and talk about some of these leadership lessons that you've learned along the way, right? So what is one hard truth that you learned about leadership while serving others? You kind of started talking about one of them with ripping out the plastic. But but talk to me a little bit about that.
Here is one that I learned.
Mhm.
You go where you are needed, but you stay only where you're valued.
Come on.
And a lot of times in your development, you mistake being needed
Mhm.
for being valued.
Woo!
And you ask yourself, why am I always mentally, physically,
Mhm.
emotionally, spiritually drained and depleted? Because you like being called on,
Yes.
even if you're not being called yourself. Ain't no, hello?
Sir.
Hello? See, they call you for
Oh
your
my
gift,
goodness.
but they don't care about the
Mhm.
gifted.
My God.
Go where you're needed, but discern when that need is done,
Mhm.
you need to be replenished in a place where you are valued. When you're in a place where you are needed, you're always being pulled on, which means
Yes.
you are being pulled out. They're pulling virtue out, pulling
Yep.
ideas, wise counsel, advice. But when you're in a
Mhm.
place where you are valued, you are poured into. And when you're
Jeez.
in a place where you're valued, hear me, when you're in a place where you're valued, whether you operate in your gift or not, they value and love you. Not because you're gifted, but just because
Right.
you are a gift.
Jeez. They don't just love the gift, they love the person. Wow. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through the rest of this conversation, Jared. I really don't. Oh my goodness. That is powerful. Being valued versus being needed. Mother Sherman said, yes, it is clarity in the face of chaos. Daniel said bars. Yep, value versus needed. Sean said, go where you are needed, stay where you are valued. Yes, please write these down, you guys. Like these are gems. You hear me? Make sure you guys are writing some of this down. So, so good. Okay. So, what was the biggest, since we're talking about being valued versus being needed, um, how has stepping into greater visibility changed your view of what it is to be a leader?
Because being a leader, especially when you come from a place where I was always in the front, I was always
Mhm.
on a platform. When you learn that you are a leader, because a leader is a servant. I'm
Right.
coming to serve. I am being sent by God to serve a region or an
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere. You learn you don't need a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Your gift and your purpose make you a mobile platform.
Wow.
Everywhere you go, it's hard to block somebody who understands they're a platform because
Okay.
wherever I am, because of what I went through and the assignment on my life, when I open
Yes.
my mouth, there's a platform created. When I share
Jeez.
my story, there's a platform
Platform.
created. And that platform is so that God can
Mm-hmm.
be introduced, because you're going to talk to a lot of people who will never step into a church, but they'll step in front of you.
Exactly.
And when you open your mouth and share your personal story, you are bringing in the God factor. And that
Mm.
God always steps on a platform.
Every time. Jeez. Whew. All right, Jared. So I love that, the God factor. Okay. So we've talked about leadership and some of those lessons, but let's talk about what it looks like in action, right? What does that level of leadership look like in action when you're showing up? So what does it mean to you to embody authority and leadership? And what does that look like for you now at this stage?
The first thing that came to mind, honestly, was the word scary, because
Mm,
when you really start to understand that you are a leader, that means responsibility, where much is given, much is required. And it's
yeah.
scary because God expects much more from you.
Hmm.
You're not even allowed to be great if God called you to be greater.
Oh,
It is a sin to be great when God has called you to be greater. There was always that relentless pulling on me. Pull whenever
jeez.
I felt like, yeah, I guess this is it. No, there was more inside of me that I didn't know. And that's why it's important. That's why you'll know you're around the right people, because the right people
Mhm.
will start to speak of a you never dreamed of. And you
Jeez.
need that because they're speaking and talking and putting you in places where they can see, but you may not be able to see it. And
Right.
iron sharpens iron. And I was around people certain people who were, they could tell that there was something else in me, that
Mhm.
where I was not serving me. It was
Wow.
serving me up. It wasn't serving me. It was serving me up. So you see, we always say that scripture where thou hast prepared a table in the presence of my enemies, and it, we had this conversation before. It's
Mhm.
never about the table. It's
Yes.
always about the chef.
The chef.
And when I was in Indianapolis, when I was on my development and my grind, I had a chance to work for a fancy restaurant, and I was in the events, and I had a chance to work with a great chef, a couple stars. And one
Mhm.
thing that I noticed is that when we would serve the parties, they would these 5-star meals, and they would love it coming out there. We all had a smile on our face too. It wasn't because you was eating. It was because we knew that when we went to the back, the
Mhm.
chef had already prepared the same meal at the same level before we even served them. The chef
Wow.
always has you in mind. It's not what God has for you is larger. If it can just fit on the table, you can keep it. It's always about the chef, not about the table. Stop worrying about being invited to somebody's table or bringing
Listen.
to the table. What you bring into the table, it's not about what you're bringing to the table. It's about what God had prepared for you. He's going to let them see it, but all of it won't be able to fit on that table.
My goodness. It's not about the table, it's about the chef. Okay. Hope y'all wrote that down. This is helping me. Okay. Wow. And I love that because it teaches you how to focus on the right thing, to really trust that the person who made the meal always had you in mind. I love that. Okay. So before we transition to our rapid fire round, let me ask you one more question because I want to leave everybody with something tonight. What is one piece of advice that you would give to the hidden helpers that are on tonight, the people that have maybe been a little too comfortable in the background, too comfortable being great when they know they're called to be greater?
You can't help what you can't see.
Hmm.
If you are anointed in areas, if you cannot see the need, you will miss the call for you to show up.
Hmm.
Stop thinking that the more you sit and shrink and stay in the background, you become more worthy.
Ah.
You were not anointed to stay in that plastic. Remember, there was very little air in there.
Mhm.
You were anointed to be ripped and cut open so that you could unfold, because they didn't order so that they can watch you in that plastic, in that stage.
Mhm.
It's so that you could be fulfilled when you are in a place where you can flourish. Stop
Yeah.
shrinking for people who are uncomfortable seeing God do big things for you.
Woo,
And
sir.
that's family. That's
Mhm.
family. I'm telling you, folks don't mind you being blessed as
Until
long as they can't see it on you.
right.
When they start to see that new car pull up, now they got a problem. When they see that new business take off, now they got an issue. Oh, they was okay when you just bless them, Lord. Let them get a ride to work. Don't let them get a company. Just let them get a few calls. Don't let them end up being on TV. Folks don't mind you being blessed as long as they can't see it on you. You are not anointed to shrink. It frustrates God when you're sitting on what God knows that He called you to amplify. It
Yes.
fu- we are cheating ourselves if we dream of excellence, but we settle only for average.
Mm.
Stop making other people feel comfortable when they see you. Dial it back. That's your personality, your dreams, your ideas. They're
Right.
okay. That's family, friends, co-workers, people who are for you. You have to be able to understand when God gives that vision and that business and that idea and those innovative and creative things to you. He meant to give them to you with his whole chest. He
Yes, he
meant to
did.
stand on business. So that's what I'm saying to you today. Stop feeling okay with your head down, you not saying too much, if you're in a place where that creativity is being shunned and stifled out, you are in the wrong place and you have
Yep.
permission to exit.
Goodness gracious. Wow. This was amazing. So here's what I'm going to do because I want to make sure that we're honoring our time together tonight. So I'm about to switch into something for Jared specifically so you guys can learn more about how you can connect with him and stay connected with him. As I'm doing that, if you have comments or questions that you would like for myself and or Jared to answer tonight, go ahead and start putting them in the comments now. So that way when we're done with the rapid fire round, we can go ahead and address those for you guys. Okay. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the comments and we'll be sure to respond to you guys. So, Jairrod, I came up with something called the Authority Matchmaker round. Okay. And so the Authority Matchmaker, it's basically a rapid fire round where I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And it's just a fun way for the community to connect with you and see if, they're a good fit to either work with you as a client or maybe if they want to support your vision in some capacity. So
Mhm.
here we go. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Don't overthink it. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind and we're going to just keep it going. Okay. All right.
Let's get it.
So here we go. First question. Jairrod, what do you do and who do you serve?
Well, I speak into the lives of many, one one experience at a time. I influence others and bring clarity to them, and I serve God, whose name is Jesus Christ.
Okay. Who are you looking to connect with right now? Clients, collaborators, opportunities, either or.
I'm looking for the age group between 18 and 55, college students all the way up to 55. Um, those who are in corporate, those who have clients that you know that you can't take them to the next level, but you need somebody who can come in and say, look, this is what we need. I need to show you the value. I need to show you the purpose. And they need the power of another person saying what they can't. So
Mhm.
also who I serve is those who are outside in the marketplace, corporate, uh, athletics, colleges, universities, high schools. I'm teaching and speaking on knowing your value and knowing your purpose.
Love it. Okay. Well, you kind of did that one already, so I'll move on. What values matter the most to you in the people that you work with? What values need to be aligned?
It, I love meeting somebody who is genuine, somebody who is authentic, and I love meeting leaders and management who I can
Mhm.
tell actually care for the people that they work with.
Yes.
That actually impresses me. So that stands out. When I know that your core value system is authentic, that's what impresses me.
Love that. Okay. And what would be the best first step for someone who may want to connect with you if they are a good fit based on what you said tonight?
Get a hold of me through you.
Okay. Okay, that works. So if
I'm on all platforms up under
Mhm.
my name,
Okay.
Jairrod A. Burch. Um, I typically spend a lot more time on Facebook for specific reasons because I'm able to interact more, write more. Um, but inbox me, send me a message, and I'll definitely reply and get back to you.
Awesome. Okay, so if and only if you align with what Jared described tonight, please feel free to connect with him on social media or using the appropriate channel, which was his inbox DM, like he mentioned. All right, so let's go ahead and go into our Q&A very quick. 'Cause I want to make sure we have a chance to answer any questions that were in here. Okay, this should be an easy
Sana,
question.
ho-
Mhm.
hold on one second. So I
Okay.
just wanted to clear because when you asked me who did I serve, I thought you were asking me. I was so that's why I said I serve. I mean, what are we talking about? I serve God. What you talking about? But you were talking about the. So that's why I came
Yes.
back and came back around. So I understand.
Okay. You were smooth with it too. I saw how you did that. I was like, okay, okay, he brought it back in. Okay, so first question, Dana wanted to know where you got your jacket from.
To be honest, I really don't remember, but I appreciate it, man. It's freezing here where I'm at. I don't know where you are, but it's freezing where I am.
Oh my goodness. All right. Do we have any other questions? Looking in the comments now. Oh, Senza had a comment. She said, I think for me, I grew up always in the background and people not valuing what I had to say. That was me too, girl. However, now
Mm.
I find myself being pushed and pulled to the front and people actually looking to me for answers. And I had to get used to that because I was stifled for so long. Woo! Any comments on that one?
Yeah, you're going to deal with a lot of time imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
The feeling of, do I really belong up here? Like, am I qualified for this? I just want you to remember, I know the thoughts that I think towards you. So
Mhm.
before God, um, before he put you on this earth, he formed you. And when he formed you, he had your authentic self. This is what I'm going to put inside of you. And you're
Mm.
more qualified than you think, but you'll never feel like you're credible or qualified if you're in an environment that feeds that thought. Check
Yep.
your environment, check the people you're around, and if you need to relocate so that you can get to a healthier um, mindset and a healthier you need to be in a place where you can flourish, not just function.
Yes. Absolutely agree. Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions as of yet. If you don't have a question, but you were tuning in tonight and you want to leave your favorite takeaway, feel free to do that as well and drop that in the comments for us and let us know what you took away from this conversation, what really resonated with you. It always helps for, leaders to see that what we're pouring out is actually helping other people. So if you'd like to share your takeaway tonight, definitely do that so Jared can see how this conversation helped you. And before we leave, like I said, if you have questions, I'm still leaving the chat open for a little bit to give you guys a chance to think of any questions you may have for us. So drop those in the comments for me, and I'll try to respond to as many takeaways and comments as I can. But yeah, so I want to thank you so much, Jared, for joining me tonight, for sharing your story and the insights and everything that you have shared. So I know you have a couple more minutes, so I'm going to leave you up for a little bit until 8:30. But even when he's not on camera, he's still going to hang around if he can for a little bit just to answer any questions or comments that you guys leave. But I definitely just want to say, wow, like tonight was an amazing conversation. It really was. And it really reminded us that humility, like you said, is not about shrinking or silencing yourself, especially for the benefit of other people, but it's really about
Right.
leading with confidence and with grace. So, the point is that you can serve and still be seen, right? You can honor others and still honor yourself. And that's been a big one for me, especially this year, honoring yourself as much as you honor others. So,
Right.
like I said, thank you so much for everything that you poured out tonight. For everyone watching, if this conversation really spoke to you, go ahead and drop no more hiding in the comments for me. This is going to be our declaration that we are no longer going to hide and call it humility, but we're going to start taking up space. We're going to lead and we're going to be who we're called to be. We're not going to be afraid to be greater, right? Like Jared talked about earlier tonight. So go ahead and do that for me. We got about another minute or so. All right, last call for takeaways, comments, questions. Oh, Mother Sherman said this was awesome. Thank you. Here we go, Stenza. No more hiding. Love it. Okay.
Cut me open. Cut it open.
Yes, cut me open. That was so good. Cut me open. Okay. All right. So while we're waiting for those last couple comments and everything, yep, no more hiding. Love it. Love it, guys. Do have a couple announcements tonight. So this platform, the Leader Tribe Live, this is not really something that I intended to do. It kind of just happened. But I wanted to create this space specifically for leaders and to create a spotlight for leaders that need to be seen and need to be heard. So it's not just about giving insights, but also about spotlighting and highlighting leaders like Jared tonight who are so powerful and so capable and so great and really deserve to be heard. So I wanted to create a space where not only could he get a spotlight shined on his gift and the gift that he is to the world, but so that you guys could also have an opportunity to benefit. So, Jared, thank you again for everything that you poured. I just pray that God continues to bless you and pour back into you and refresh you for everything that you gave to this community tonight. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say before we head out?
I just want to wish everybody a happy holidays coming up. And the best gift you can give to yourself and I mean this, is start showing up for you like you showed up for everybody else.
Yes.
Show up for you and clap for you like you've given everybody else a standing ovation.
Hmm. Absolutely. Love that. All right, Jared. So I'm going to go ahead and put you backstage. Feel free to hang out in case anybody have any additional questions that you may want to respond to in the comment section. But thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
So, so a couple more things before we go, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in. But in addition to what we talked about with the Leader Tribe Live, I do also want to extend an invitation, right? So if you are a leader within the Leader Tribe community specifically, and you have a story that you would like to share, or you have expertise that you would like to share with our community, applications are now open. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I put those the application link in the comments for you guys so you can check that out. So definitely, if you are interested in being one of my guests on the platform, I would love to have you. Would love to learn more about your story and what it is that you have to offer the world. And then last but not least, I do have an important announcement tonight as well, guys. So I'm excited about that. So I'm excited to announce that not only do we have the Leader Tribe now, but I'm officially launching and opening spaces and taking new members for my Authority Tribe cohort for 2026. So I started off with a membership and I decided to get into a very intentional, curated cohort. That's going to be launching officially in January. And so the Authority Tribe, like if you loved the conversation tonight and you love the conversations that we've been having in the Leader Tribe, the Authority Tribe takes it to the next level, right? So that's not just a space that's available to everyone. It is a curated environment where I'm going to give closer proximity to no more than 40 leaders per year. And so that's where I personally step in and guide leaders to ascend into what I call the authority era and to really embody their own greatness and carry it in a way that is evident to the right clients, right? To premium clients. So if tonight's conversation made you realize that you've been playing smaller than your calling requires, or maybe you've been carrying the weight of leadership without fully owning it, the cohort is where you go to close that gap. And so this is where clarity is going to become direction, direction becomes implementation, and then implementation positions you for undeniable authority. So if you are ready to ascend into your authority era with me, you can check out the link. I'm going to have that pinned in the comments as well so that you can be among the 40 leaders leveling up with me next year. But as always, for everybody that tuned in tonight, thank you for being a part of this movement. It's not just the platform, but it is a movement behind it. And I truly appreciate every single body that came on tonight, that engaged, that supported. And thank you again to Jairrod for all the wisdom that he shared tonight. And I just pray that you all were refreshed by this conversation and that you were refreshed. But yeah, definitely looking forward to more conversations like this as we step into the new year. But yeah, so I'll take a second to look at the comments one more time. All right, Sean said, thank you. You guys are so welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So, all right, everybody, God bless you. Happy holidays. I hope you guys enjoy your holiday season with your families and loved ones. And until next time, remember to keep leading, keep evolving, and remember that humility is not hiding. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye.